Hello, this is Bill McFadden from Tone Pure Music, and in this video we're going to take a look at DeCapo by Sonokinetic. And what we have is an orchestral sectional DA, and it allows you to VST instrument, which allows you to have violins and violas blended, violas and celli blended, celli by themselves plus basses, bass, and then we have a woodwind section consisting of bass clarinet, bassoons, and clarinets, as well as flutes, and 3 flutes by themselves, 2 bass trombones in the brass section, plus tuba in the octave, and we have tenor trombones, bass trombones, and 4 horns as well, a patch, combined patch there, and horns by themselves, and timpani, as well as other percussion, which we'll see as we go through the VST. So in DeCapo, we have string patches, brass patches, woodwind patches, percussion separately, and then we have a patch where everything's combined together. So let's go, and there also is a light version. This will be looking at the 24-bit full version. So initially, in the string section, if you load it in, let's go over to the browser. Actually, and just I'll load in a fresh copy of the strings, so you see it as you get it. And you'll notice as I play a chord here, we have a sustain patch, and it includes the high strings up here. Now, notice when I click on that, in the little video on the side, you can see all of the red keys lining up. So that would be your violin range right there. And if I click on it again, it goes away, and what you see is this region here. And that goes away, and then we see basically at that point we're doing the string basses. If I click on that, everything goes away. So I can bring the string basses back individually by selecting articulation. So we'll just do sustain for now. So that's the lowest note. And then if we turn that off, turn this on, select the articulation. So now we're looking at the viola. Turn that off. Turn on the, okay, let's go back to this patch here. Actually, this would be your celli. They have them sort of in reverse order. They have bass celli, or cello, violas, and violins up here, but they have them in reverse order down here. So here's your celli. And then if we turn this on, now we're going up to the violas. We'll select an articulation. So a short range there. And then we'll go to the violins, select an articulation. Notice you have your close mic position, your Deca, your wide, and your balcony. We'll just be using the Deca and wide, try and keep this short. So we can go ahead and turn on basically everything at this point. So you have your ensemble patch. So it's a nice patch, quite a nice patch. Now, one of the nice things about DeCapo is it blends in with Vivace and also Tutti, which are a couple of other libraries they have. And if I go to staccato, and then we have the marcato articulation. As well as pizzicato. And we looked at the sustain. They also have legato. And also you can adjust the volumes of the individual sections that we see here, as well as the pan. And also you have a reverb, which is down here, and this controls the amount, and here you have the size of the room. And also this here gives you a pan function as well, this little dot here. And then this is your volume control. Now, you can use this library in the regular Contact version. We're in Complete at this point, taking advantage of the lighted keyboard, which shows you the sections that you're focusing on. Like if right now these are lit up. Also, the mod wheel increases your volume. Let's go back to the sustain patch. So when you hit legato, it lights up both legato and sustain. So here's your sustain patch. So a very nice string ensemble patch. It would be nice if it went a little higher. Than C6, although for 90% of your needs, you're probably fine with C5. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next patch. So here we have the brass. And let's go ahead and look at we have our reverb, of course, the same setup. You have your mics positions, and you have your reverb size and amount, and you also have your pan. And your overall volume. And also, the volume is controlled by mod wheel with a sustain patch. With the marcato and staccato, it's going to be velocity controlled. So you have your high brass. So if I take that out, actually I can take all of them out just by clicking on brass. Everything is unloaded, or at least deactivated. And let's go to the low and then pick an articulation, say sustain, and you see the yellow keys light up down here. And then your mid, let's go ahead and deactivate low and activate mid with sustain. And then we'll look at the high. sustain patch. So notice we don't have trumpets. So if you want trumpets, you would have to use another library to include your trumpets in the brass. Just as a reminder, here's the instruments they include in the brass. You've got your bass trombones, tubas, tenor trombones, and horns. No trumpets. So maybe they'll, in a feature edition, add the trumpets in, which would be nice. Maybe combine it in. So the other articulations we have now is staccato. So let's go ahead and get everything back in. Clicking on this icon here. So that's controlled by the volume's controlled by velocity. And then on our marcato patch, which is pretty standard. So we have the volume again being controlled by the velocity. And then here again is your sustain patch. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the next group, woodwinds. Let's go ahead and adjust that. And so again, we have the same setup. 4 mic positions, the reverb, size and amount, excuse me. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the sound. So they give you initially, when you load it up, a sustain articulation. Then we can control our volume by the mod wheel. And staccato articulation. As well as legato. And again, you can control the volume levels, the low, mid, and the high. And notice we just have the 3 sections here, the woodwinds. And then you, of course, as before, you click on this, everything gets deactivated. And then if I click on high and pick an articulation, we see exactly where the keys are activated. And then if we do mid and then the red keys show the mid range. And then if we click on low and pick, let's see, there we go. There. Then we see the red keys where the low articulation is. And then the next module we'll look at is percussion. And so here you have your mic mix again for your 4 mic positions, your reverb, also your volume and your pan, which also your pan is this little dot here can be adjusted, and these are your individual volumes. So there you see the cymbals moving. And here you see the toms moving. And here you see the snares volume moving. So if we clear out all of the articulations, actually there aren't articulations in the percussion, if you notice. Okay, so if we click that, that deactivates them. So we'll look at this articulation, which is your articulation, or sorry, your timpani. And then deactivate that. Then we have the cymbals, and you'll see way up here, these keys light up. Those are your cymbals, deactivate those. And then here we have, up here, we have the toms. And then we'll deactivate those, then activate the snares. And also, we have bass drum down here. So you have some nice rolls there. And then let's go ahead and take a look at the last group, which is all the sections combined. And so if we play the initial patch, we hear the strings. Now these keys down here are your pits, your Bartok pits. And then we have the brass section, and it hasn't been activated, so we'll go ahead and activate the highs and the mids and the lows. So now we have brass and strings together. And again, you have your volume controlled by your mod wheel. And then we can activate, we go back, we can add in the woodwinds, maybe keep the sustain as well. So there's your high, mids, low, and your lows. So now we have those together, woodwinds, brass, and strings. As you can see, we're getting a little bit of CPU overload. So if I go to the studio and yeah, see, it's fairly putting a lot of stress having all these instruments loaded in simultaneously. So if I go to the setup and pick the audio system and maybe increase the buffer size. Oh, no wonder it's at 256. Okay, let's go to 512. The smaller the buffer size, the quicker the response. Or sorry, yeah, the smaller the buffer size, the quicker response when you hit a key. So it's handling it fine now at 512. But it's also getting close. Let's go ahead and look at the other, let's bring in the percussion. So we're bringing all of that. It's all lit up. So now we have all of the sections combined. So you have the, you can combine all sections together if you want the full sound, or you can use them individually or in combination with one another. So that pretty much is an overview of the library and what it's all about. So if you like this video, please let me know. And if you wish to subscribe, then please click on the icon below my portrait at the end of the video, which is coming up right now. So Bill McFadden signing off from Tone Clear Music.